Now, these metric prefixes we've been talking about, milli, killa, mega, here's a little number line that has them all on it, okay? All the ones we'll be dealing with. Look at what's in the middle of that prefix number line. Blank. That's just for plain old gram, plain old meter, plain old liter. And then it goes up by 3 powers of 10. So let's go to the right. 3 notches to the right, K for kilo. It means 1,000 or 10 to the third. 3 notches higher, capital M, mega. You've heard of a megabyte. There it is. It means a million or 10 to the sixth. 3 notches higher, giga, capital G. It means a billion, 10 to the ninth. And you don't often hear about it, but tera, terabyte, another computer term, capital T. That's 1 trillion, and it's 10 to the 12th. Going the other direction works just as easily. 1/1000th, we've already mentioned that, that's milli, small m, and that's 10 to the negative third. 3 notches smaller than that, micro, that's the Greek letter mu, and that's 10 to the negative sixth, that means 1/1,000,000th. 3 notches smaller than that, 10 to the negative ninth, is nano. Okay, that's 1 billionth. And 3 notches smaller than that is pico, small p, 1 trillionth, 10 to the negative 12th. We also have a couple of in-betweeners there between the blank and the milli and between the blank and the killa. They're not used that frequently. Centa, that's 1/100th, that's 10 to the negative 12th, is used with meter, and that's about it. And deci, occasionally you'll see use of that, but not very often. But they're worth knowing as well. Deca and hecta, almost never used. So, you know, they're there, but we don't really use that much. And what do I mean by use them? Well, I can put milli with gram, that means 1,000th of a gram. I can put killa in front of meter, and that means 1,000 meters. So you can mix and match any way you choose. I could put micro in front of liter, and that's 1,000,000th of a liter. It's that simple. The prefix tells you exactly how many there are. NS, that's a nanosecond, okay, which means 1 billionth of a second. And you're probably familiar with this one. Megabyte means simply 1,000,000 bytes. Finally, gigawatt. If you're a fan of Back to the Future, they talk about 1.21 gigawatts, but it should have been pronounced gigawatts. That's right. A gigawatt is 1 billion watts. So really you can hook up these prefixes with any units you're familiar with. Not just beater, liter, and gram, but really any prefix, a kilojoule, whatever. So another thing that is very useful for a metric, in fact where it's most useful, is doing conversions. Now if I take 72.3 yards and I want to convert that into inches, or 72.3 yards, convert that to miles, those are not easy to do. I mean, they do have answers, but they're not logical. You have to multiply by 36 or whatever, and you need a calculator. You get 2603 for how many inches. Going the other direction, 72.3 yards, comes out to be 0.0411 miles. But again, I used a calculator to get those. A calculator, but check out the equivalent. We don't like that. That's no good. Check out the equivalent version of that in the metric system. 72.3 meters, how many centimeters would that be? And 72.3 meters, how many kilometers would that be? Well, the first answer is 7,230. Notice how similar that is to 72.3. And the answer to the next one, 0.0723. See, it's the same number just with the decimal point moved. That's because the metric system is all based on base 10. You've got 10 fingers. It doesn't make sense to be using something that's based on 12s or 3s or 5,280s or 16s. 10 is the easy number to multiply and divide by. You simply move the decimal point. Add a 0. Okay, add a 0 at the end, add a 0 at the beginning with the decimal point. Whatever you need to do to move the decimal point the right direction. But the answers are easy. Let me show you how I got those. Look at the very first one and look specifically at the prefixes. Now there is no prefix in front of meter. Don't get confused there. That's blank meters. That's not a milli by itself. It's blank meters, and I'm going to centimeters. Well, look at our metric prefix number line. How far apart are blank and centa? Okay? Hopefully you saw that they're 2 notches apart. Okay? That means I'm going to be moving the decimal point 2 places. But which direction? Do I make it bigger or smaller? Well, to answer that, you look at what's happening to the unit. Meter to centimeter is getting smaller. Notice my arrow is going to the left. That's the smaller direction on all number lines. To the left means smaller, to the right's bigger. Because my unit's getting smaller, I have to make my number get bigger to compensate. That should only make sense. If I were converting 500 pennies into dollars, 500 pennies equals $5. Notice how penny to dollar, the unit got bigger? So 500 to 5, I made the number get smaller. It wouldn't make sense to say 500 pennies equals $50,000. I can't have both the unit and the number get bigger. It doesn't work. Okay? How about the other one? Again, my prefix to begin with, there is no prefix, it's blank. Blank meters to kilometers. Notice here how these two prefixes are 3 notches apart on my metric prefix number line. And this time the unit's getting bigger. Meter, kilometer. If I'm making the unit get bigger, I have to make the number get smaller. So I'm going to move the decimal point 3 places in a direction that makes my number get smaller. So 72.3, move it 3 places to the left, and you get 0.0723. Here's another one. Go ahead and try this one right now in your note sheet. You can pause the video if you want. Okay? I'm going from 16.52 grams, I want to convert that to milligrams. Again, I'm starting with no prefix, so it's blank grams. I'm going to milligrams. 3 notches apart. My unit's getting smaller. Notice how it's going to the left means smaller. So I'll make my number get bigger. I'm going to move my decimal point 3 places to the right. 16.52 becomes 16,520. I need to add a 0 there as a placekeeper. How about this problem? 835 millimeters, and I'm converting to centimeters. They both have prefixes this time. I'm going from milli to centa. Go ahead and try to answer that question. Pause the video if you want to. If you look at the prefix number line, milli and centa are just 1 notch apart. And going from milli to centa is getting bigger. I therefore want to make my number get smaller. Now I know there's no decimal point shown in 835, but it's assumed to be right after the 5, 835 point. So move that decimal point 1 spot to the left and you get 83.5. See how easy that is? No multiplying by 12, dividing by 3, any of that stuff.